few minutes, we will explain what the accounts payable options are and we'll show you how to set them up. Prior to entering transactions in accounts payable, it is necessary to configure the relevant settings. In the Options object, you will find 5 tabs. You can define the company information in the Company tab. You can define the processing options within the Processing tab. You can define how transactions are to be processed in the Transactions tab. You'll also specify how documents are to be numbered in the Numbering tab. And finally, you can define how retainage is to be configured within the Retainage tab. Let's have a look at defining the setup options for Sage 300. We'll click Accounts Payable in the left-hand pane, select AP Setup, and then double-click Options. And the following window appears. There are again 5 tabs. The company information is displayed on the Company tab, and we can make modifications to the contact name, telephone, and fax number. Let's have a look at the Processing tab, where we can define the processing options. We'll have a look at the most frequently used options. Under Processing Options, you can choose to force listings of all batches. If you want to force the user to print the batch listings first before those batches can be posted. If you want to enable retainage accounting, put a check mark beside the retainage accounting. You will notice that the Retainage tab will appear. Under Vendor Group Statistics, put a check mark beside Keep Statistics. And if you want to be able to edit statistics, put a check mark beside Allow Edit Statistics. If you want taxes to be included in the statistical amounts, put a check mark beside Include Tax and Statistics. You can specify how your statistics are to be accumulated. They can be accumulated based on either calendar or fiscal year, as well as the appropriate period type. Under Aging Periods, specify how the documents are to be aged. By default, you have 5 aging periods, and they are set up from current to 30, 31 to 60, 61 to 90, and over 90 days. In the Age Unapplied Credit and Debit Notes, as well as the Age Unapplied Prepayments, you will specify how any debit, credit, or prepayments that have not yet been applied are to be aged. They can be aged as of current or by date. You also have the option of changing the default number of days to keep vendor comments. Let's have a look at the Transactions tab. Under Invoice Options, you can specify the default value of the default posting date, the default tax amount, as well as the default tax base. The default posting date can be either document, batch, or session date, whereas the default tax amount and default tax base can be set to calculate, enter, or distribute. If you want to enable 1099 CPRS reporting, put a check mark beside this option. Default Detailed Tax Class to 1. If checked, this means that the system is going to use the default tax class as defined within Tax Services to be the value set to 1. If left unchecked, this means the system is going to use the Vendor Detailed Tax Class as defined within the Invoicing tab. Under Payment Options, you will specify the default transaction type. They can be either payment, prepayment, applied document, or miscellaneous payment. You will define how the open documents are to be listed beside default order of open documents. You can define the default bank code that will be used to pay the vendors. You will also define the default payment code. You can select how the system is going to verify for duplicate checks. It can be set to either none, meaning that if a duplicate check is found, no warning is issued. It can be set to warning, meaning that if a duplicate check is found, a warning will be displayed, and the user will be able to continue using that number. If error is selected, this means that if a duplicate check is found, the user will be required to use a different number. Sort checks by can be sorted by any of the options listed here. Default posting date can be either document, batch, or session date. Include pending transactions. If the user chooses to include pending transactions Any payments or adjustments that exist in open batches that are unposted will be included. You can also specify whether adjustments can be made during payment entry, whether you want to allow the edit of system-generated batches, and whether or not the remit to information can be changed. In the Numbering tab, you can specify how documents are to be numbered. For example, you can see that payments have a prefix of PY and the length is 22 characters. If I change the length to be 5 characters, the next payment will be numbered PY081. I can also view the next batch and posting sequence numbers. If retainage is enabled, the user can also define the appropriate retainage options from the Retainage tab. You can specify the default retainage percentage as well as the default retainage period. You can specify how tax is to be reported and how the base retainage amount on is going to be used. These options can be changed at any time. Once you have finished configuring the options, click Save and click Close to return to the Sage 300 desktop. This is how you configure options within Accounts Payable. Now please pause this video and open the document with the exercises. This document can be found in your learning package on Sage University. In order to practice modifying and reviewing the Accounts Payable options, complete Exercise 1 from the Maintaining AP lesson. Were you able to review the AP options? Great! Congratulations! You now know what the Accounts Payable options are and how to set them up.